Lead attorney. Just joking. I like the lead attorney. What's up? It is Jack Bravo. Your boy is back. It looks super dark in here. I might have to turn the lights up a little bit. Oh no. Hold on. I gotta fix this. It's far too dark. That's better. A little bit better. Oh, maybe that's too bright. What's up? It's your boy, Jack Bravo. And normally, my passion and what I feel that... Dang, I'm all messed up. My mic is all out of place. Normally, what I feel or what I understand God's direction for me is to teach young men how to be masculine Christian men. That Christianity and masculinity go hand in hand. They're not opposed to one another. That's why you'll see a lot of the videos on me and my brother's channel, the Zeal Brothers. We deal with a lot of these topics, but it's hard not to address the modern woman because it's so much garbage everywhere you go. I might be doing a video later this week on some of the things I found on TikTok. Now, TikTok is absolutely garbage. It is a bad app in my opinion because it encourages people to scroll as quickly as you can and get those endorphin hits. But there's some gems I found on TikTok that were really good. And we might be going through that later on this week. But today, what I want to talk about is the modern woman. Why are men so frustrated with modern women? It's insane. So this video that I found is a girl named Pearly Things and a couple of other red pill men, and they're discussing with a couple of modern women on a dating show called The Purple Pill. And it's just insane, some of the responses and some of the lack of awareness and some of the delusion that a lot of modern women have. It astonishes me that some of these women just simply don't understand men. They don't get it. They don't understand how they come across. They come across as if they don't understand society from any perspective but their small, narrow-minded perspective. I understand. I'm a conservative Christian black man. And if people don't agree with me, I can kind of understand some of their perspectives to a certain extent. I don't agree with a lot of it, but I understand sometimes how I can come across and how people can see a perspective opposite of mine. In fact, sometimes I watch things to keep me grounded on the other side. But these women have no ability to see anything from any perspective but their own. And that's why most of them will die alone, in the words of the great Kevin Samuels. Most of them will die alone because they don't understand the first thing about the men they want. So Pearly Things has been taking over the internet recently because she has a lot of videos on her channel, and she has several channels that are addressing some of these social issues. And I agree a lot with what she says. I wouldn't consider myself red pill, but I agree with a lot of the red pill sentiments because some of it is just true, and you can't deny what's just true. I've done a video on what I disagree and what I agree with on the red pill. But enough fluff. Let's get right into the video.
Okay. Were you all saying like the red pill is like rightfully so misogynist, or were you saying like people are labeling that wrongfully?
My question was, what is the red pill and why has it turned into a misogynistic ideal? That was my question. I never made any accusations. Like when I said...
I don't like when people frame questions like this because you have to assume that what they're saying is true. That's like saying, why have you been beating your wife? you have to assume that I'm beating my wife to ask me why. So first you have to determine that the red pill is misogynist before you can jump and ask these questions.
Down literally, it was just asking a question.
Earl or Austin, one of y'all take over on
Well, you said why has it turned into a misogynist idea?
There we go.
So you think it's misogynist?
You're right.
From what I'm aware of and from what I've seen so far.
Clips.
Some of the clips I've seen
Can I have an example?
reeked of misogyny.
Can I have
Right.
an example?
In fact, when you enter into a debate and somebody makes a blanket statement, let's say, and often the left likes to do this. You'll hear me talk about the left a lot. They will say, you're racist, or somebody said something and that person is racist. And then what you should do is what Pearly just did. Do you have an example of that? Because if you don't, you're just making a statement with no proof.
Just putting the fat comment the other day, that was inappropriate. I don't know why we made that comment or how we thought that was okay.
What's your comment?
If you're over this amount of weight, no man's ever gonna love you.
How is that misogynist?
What's a realistic comment?
That would be fatness, maybe.
How's that realistic?
Fatness. Fat shaming is the word, the phrasing they like to use. Should I address this or should I let them go more into it? This is... Let me let them talk.
Talk about me.
What was the
I don't know. I just saw clips. I haven't tuned in live yet.
Okay. I didn't say no man's ever gonna love you.
Okay.
I said no one.
rude either way.
I said no one looks good over 300 pounds.
And that's a personal opinion.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. And oftentimes you'll see a heavier set woman defending these points. But the problem is, we as men are very visual. We like what we see. In fact, you want to manipulate a man, send a beautiful woman his way. Send a woman that has the ability to appear friendly, fit, feminine, and a beautiful smile. You can pretty much get a man to do anything you want to do. We're simple-minded in that way. But as a woman and as women, what you should learn is that because men are visual, these are things that we deem as important. Matter of fact, I put it this way. I remember having this discussion. If I didn't find my wife attractive, I would not. I don't care how much of a good Christian and good character, I would have never approached her because the first threshold to get through is attraction for men. If you are not attractive, you have no chance. It's just a fact.
Yeah, but it's rooted in data. Like if you look at
How is a personal opinion rooted in data?
Because we're talking about general opinions on the world and the way that the world views you. So if you look at dating app data, fat girls get less swipes.
It's just true.
Okay, but that's your personal experience.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Because you can go to every popular dating app and see who gets the most swipes, who gets the most responses, who gets the most callbacks, who gets the most dates, who's asked to meet up the most. It's not going to be an over 300-pound woman. The reason, and I'll even offer you this. People talk about Lizzo when they bring her in because she's like this. She's like the face of fatness right now. The reason why she's even famous is because she's skilled and she's fat, and they're trying to use her to promote fat acceptance. I think there's people way more talented than her that probably should have her spot. Now, she does have talent playing the flute and doing whatever she do. But I don't think she would be that famous if she wasn't fat because they're using her for an agenda.
That's the data's experience.
But the data. But this is apparently
Data,
skewed
dating
data.
The app? What app? Bumble, Hinge?
I don't know.
Any of them.
Tinder?
Can I say something?
No, but now that's
Yeah,
generalizing.
I'll list apps if you don't know.
What? Okay. This is a phrase you're going to hear over and over and over again. And I hate to say it, but liberal women often do this. They will say, you're generalizing, so therefore your statement is wrong. That's not true. You can generalize. In fact, you have to generalize in a conversation because there's no way to break down all the minute differences in every individual person and have a decent conversation. Do you know what that would sound like? Well, when we talk about black crime, not every black person, because one black person is different than that other black person, and this person might be a suburban black person, and that might not apply, and this person is a southern black person. So therefore, the southern black person and northern black person are different than the western black person, and this black person went to an Ivy college, and that you can't differentiate. You can talk about all black people and still make a correct statement. Generalizing is not wrong. In fact, you have to generalize, and you can be accurate in your generalization. If I say birds fly, that is a true statement. You wouldn't go and be like, oh, you're generalizing. Penguins don't fly. Ostriches don't fly. You're wrong. No, actually, everybody understands. Anybody with a small piece of intelligence rolling around in their head would understand that generalization is true. Birds fly. You would consider a person unintelligent if every time you said birds fly, they said, no, they don't. You're generalizing. We only say that, and feminist, leftist, women only say that when they don't like the fact of what you're saying.
And I'll give you the context of the conversation. Like a lot of times as women, like we don't live in reality, and I don't really understand why. Like in general in society, thin people get more attention. Thin people tend to be better looking. I'm not the skinniest girl around, but I can say that girls that
maybe
are
in a Western society.
No. No. Why do they play this Western society game as if there's some countries out there with fatter people than us? There's nobody out there fatter than in the U.S. because we live a life of abundance here. Our poor people are fat. Our rich people are fat. Everybody is fat. I'm fat. That should show you. Look, here's the problem. When they play this game of this is I've heard this argument several times and I hate it every single time. It's a Western philosophy. It's white supremacy, and it's the white beauty standards of the white woman, and therefore it doesn't apply to everywhere else. Show me a 300-pound woman from Ethiopia. We can wait. That lives in Ethiopia, grew up in Ethiopia, not came to America. Show me a 300-pound Chinese woman. We can all wait. Show me a 300-pound Russian woman. Show me a 300-pound Indian woman that lives in India. Show me a 300-pound woman from Bangladesh. Some of y'all don't even know where Bangladesh is.
All friends who have they're beautiful, have the best bodies, are fit. Mm-hmm. When we go out, I talk about this all the time. It's usually I would be like, because all of them are really, like, usually most of my friends are Hispanic. Mm-hmm. I had to talk to myself and be like, dang, maybe it's like because I'm black and they're Hispanic, that's why they get chosen. But really it's because, like you said, if you appear more fit, that's just kind of what guys want. Mm-hmm. Personally, I go for a guy who looks more fit and health-wise.
And that's all personal opinion, baby.
No, but I'm just saying in Dallas.
Listen to what she's saying now. She actually on the other side, because there's two sides here, split by the man with the gray button up. She is saying her preference is for more fit men. Pay attention. Because her preference is not wrong. You can even though I don't consider her a fit woman, she can still prefer fit men. We'll come back to that.
When we go out to the club and stuff, guys aren't going for me. Like, they're going for my friend who's more fit, more up with, that's just
And that might be an issue with men.
I also now want to also give my
but
personal
But
experience.
why are you shaming men for their standards?
Exactly.
This is the thing. This is like a common shaming.
I'm not
tactic.
shaming.
Like,
I
because you
just
said
disagree.
that's an issue with men. That's what you said.
I'm gonna
And
take
so
it back.
you're
Shaming them, I just disagree.
because you're saying that that's an issue with men. That is shaming. That's shaming language.
Imagine, this is the funny thing. Liberal women, because she's obviously liberal. The more you listen to the conversation, the more you understand her philosophy and worldview. She's obviously left wing. She has to be. They have a problem with men's preferences, but they don't do that to anyone else. The reason why they have a problem with men preferences is because they don't want men to have power or control over their own lives in any aspect. They want to tell you what you should be attracted to. This is a problem because guess what? If you applied it to anything, let's apply this to the LGBTQ. Uh-oh! You can't tell them who they should love. You can't tell them what they should be attracted to. Who are you to say that a man can't find another man physically attractive? You're wrong. You're a hate monger. You're a bigot. You're homophobic. Right? But when it comes to men, you better love a trans woman. We've seen the videos. Come on now. Y'all know I'm not exaggerating. You should find trans women just as attractive as real women. You should find fat women just as attractive as skinny women. You shouldn't differentiate. All women are beautiful. You have to like them. You must be gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Because there's absolutely nothing wrong with desiring the butt of another man, but you must be gay because you don't like this fat woman. So we'll shame you by something we deem shouldn't be shamed.
Okay, and so you're basically when men say this is my standard, and then you say, oh well, it's an issue with men. And
If
it's
you
not
just shame someone for making a comment like, "Oh, if you're a
Shame.
fat girl, not gonna get swipes," isn't that shaming?
No, it's not shaming. It's
Isn't
based
that
on
fat
it's based on data. It's based on what men tend to
Well,
like.
the data
And
seems
so
a
and
little
so and so and the
inaccurate.
other thing that we took out of context in the conversation
Ain't y'all
was
like
that
fat?
Do you,
Okay.
I'm not shaming fat people, but would you like to be fat yourself?
No.
I mean, I take care of myself.
Would you like to? Yes or no?
Would you like to be fat?
Oh, answering a question with a question is disingenuous unless Jesus does it. Because when Jesus did it, he was getting to a truthful statement. The truth is people's heart. When they do it, they're just being disingenuous and avoiding the question. Be very wary of people who answer your question with a question. Listen to her response here. And this is a point that I'm gonna I hate when people do this. Oh, it fills me with so much. Oh, wait to see. And I'm gonna break this down.
No, I
It
did.
Yes
depends
or
on the
no?
context.
Yeah, I'll
In
be
the
fat.
context
That's
that
yeah.
she's asking you.
Yeah, I'll be fat.
Yes or no?
But nobody
Yes.
wants
You
to
would
be
like
fat.
to be fat?
Yeah.
You would like to?
Yes, I would love to be fat. There's nothing more in this world that I would like than to be 300 pounds in dripping bacon grease. That's what I would like. If I could start my life all over, I would be born 300 pounds and kill my mother through childbirth because I wouldn't be able to fit through the hole. That's what I would like. That's what she wants you to believe. I hate having a disagreement with disingenuous people that will go through any lengths to be right. The need to be right. Even though you know it makes you look stupid, I'm going to win this argument. I swear to God, I'm going to win this argument. Because I'm just going to disagree with everything that person say. People that are disingenuous like this don't deserve your time. When you ask somebody a simple yes or no question and you know the answer already and they still will give you the dumb answer just to win, hey man, you probably shouldn't be doing that over there because if you do that, you're going to get hit by a car. Would you like to be hit by a car? Yeah, I love getting hit by a car. I get hit by a car every day. If I could live my life getting hit by a car, I would. When you have a debate with people that stoop to that level of disingenuousness, if that's a word, when you get to that level, it's almost no point in carrying on that conversation because you know they're lying, they know they're lying, and they're only trying to annoy you, and they don't really want to have a profitable conversation. So what's the point of conversating with them? What's the point? She knows she don't want to be fat. She knows she works out. She knows she works out for male attention. She knows she gets a better result when she works out. But yet, she's going to sit here and want you to believe that she, in the back of her mind, be cool with being fat. Why aren't you fat? Why aren't you fat? It's easier to be fat in today's world in a Western society than it is to be skinny and in shape. So you know she's lying. But yet, we gonna continue playing around like she's not.
Yeah, that's
or
not
you
God.
would
If
money.
she's happy.
So that's
If
all
she's
happy.
all she's saying is on a balance.
One heart attack away from death.
All she's
And you're
saying.
close to
That
heart
doesn't
attack,
exist.
too.
I'm not.
We just
Where's
got
the
determined
facts
if
on
you're
that?
gonna have a heart attack or not.
Here, clear the mics
I
really
was
quick.
an EMT. Thanks, though.
All she's saying is on a balance of probabilities. Men would rather go with the more fit woman than the bigger woman.
That's
Okay,
just a
so
fact.
That's
Excuse
not.
me.
That,
I need to
we know
speak.
what-
I need to speak
We know
now.
what fit means.
I need to speak.
Everyone's definition of
we
fit is
know-
different.
no.
Let me say
No,
something. We
the-
need to wait our turns.
No.
That's what I was gonna say. First of all, I was
Look
invited
at-
onto this
look
podcast
at-
as a guest to share my opinion. Let me share my experience.
This is something. Pay attention, young men out there. If anybody happens to see this, I don't get enough views yet, but I'm gonna tell you, if people understand the game that I'm giving y'all, we will get there. Men, pay attention when you talk to women. Pay attention to how disrespectful they can be in a conversation and take note. Don't look at it as cute or funny or something that can be ignored. If a woman makes fun of you when you're being serious and they do that little dumb thing where they make fun of your voice, like say you be like, yeah, I held the door open for you, didn't say thank you. And they go, you didn't say thank you. When they do that dumb stuff, take note and put her in the category of, I don't care to see you again. Put her in that category because that type of disrespect and the lack of respect is something that as a man you should not deal with. Don't let somebody disrespect you when you're not being disrespectful to them or when you're not giving them that same attitude. If somebody comes off and you're trying to be nice and you're trying to have a general conversation and they want to say do and make fun of you and laugh and disregard what you say as if your opinion doesn't matter, but you're listening to them, it's time to dust off your feet and go to the next person. Don't put up with it because it will only get worse.
My opinion on something. Okay, yes.
You were
Initially,
talking, right?
Yeah, I
okay,
was
so
talking.
I
never
lived in
got-
Egypt.
never
I
got
lived in
that.
Egypt for 4 years. All right. In the Middle Eastern culture, women that are bigger, okay, are actually desired over there.
No, they not.
right?
No, they not.
we're-
That's a bold-faced lie. You a lie. Like my grandma used to say, you a lie. Not just that you're telling lies, but you are the lie. Here's the problem. That's just not true. I know people from the Middle East. I know people from Africa. I know people from Egypt. I have family that have been and traveled to Egypt. They took several hundreds of pictures. There is no one in that culture who agrees with you. I'm just telling you the truth. And y'all can say I'm not speaking facts, but I am. There's no one in that culture that says fat 300-pound women are more attractive than 120 to 150-pound women. You're just lying.
right now talking about our Western experience
Correct.
of beauty standards.
That's where we at.
Yes.
We are currently here, but we are now also generalizing the whole world
Uh-oh.
about saying that, oh, only thin women get attention. That's
It's
not
not.
true.
No. We didn't say only thin women get attention. It is that the spectrum. If you have extremely fat over here and thin and in shape over here, the thin and in shape women will get more attention. Now, here's the problem with men, and here's where I go on my tirade with men. If men wasn't such simps and men didn't put up with anything, and if men had a standard for women, and if men didn't just say, yes, dear, whatever, dear, fat women would understand. They would get the point of, yo, maybe we have to actually go through some hoops to actually please and get the man we want. But because men in the West are so weak and we have no standards and we put up with whatever, and a man will sit here and give a gigantic 350-pound woman attention because he's a simp and he's depressed with his own life and he figures that's all he can get. If we stopped doing that, women wouldn't be able to make this argument because those women will be like, dang, man, I ain't getting no attention. But because on Instagram you can go to a 300-pound girl and you got dudes up for there saying, you're beautiful, I love your curves, because they're soft and they weak. You have women that can say these arguments and be somewhat right that big women are getting attention. You need to stop giving away your attention for free.
World in a general sense. Excuse me, I'm not done.
You
So
cut me off as well.
Okay.
Nothing's true across the world.
This is not a fair debate.
Yeah.
All right.
You've
So
cut
in
me off
my
multiple
experience, when I was living over there, the men actually desire a woman that is bigger because that means that they're being fed, they're being taken care of. That is a woman that is of the household that knows to take care of.
Why don't you go over there and live then? If big women are so desired, you obviously been over there. You got the money to travel. Stay over there and be the queen. Because you be the queen over there, right?
Her family.
Well, it sounds like she got a man already.
But this is the thing, when you're looking for the exception and not the rule. And this is what women always do. Whenever we don't like an uncomfortable truth about the world, we say, well, in this one remote part of the world, there's an exception rather than the rule.
Okay.
But in most countries across the board, people prefer thinner women.
In your experience in the Western society.
No.
Now
No,
you're generalizing.
actually,
right now you're generalizing.
So actually, no, that's not necessarily true. I grew up like traveling to different countries. I've lived in Germany. I've been to India. I live in England right now. So I'm pretty cultured. I grew up with nannies from across the world. I grew up with Russian nannies. South
Nannies.
African nannies.
That's how you know you're rich.
It was the same. So yeah.
So back to what stemmed this whole conversation. You labeled it misogynist, and then you went and said, well, that kind of sucks. Well, that doesn't feel right. This is all feelings. You haven't told us why it's misogynist, because we can flip the script, and the same thing is true with men as well. So it's not like we're attacking women. This holds true for men and women. You're just labeling it as misogynist because you don't like the way that it feels towards you.
Well, fat phobia, that comment just kind of threw me off, to be honest. I've only watched clips of this podcast, but the clips that I have seen in regards to dating have been misogynistic.
Stop. Here's a philosophy that we have in our society. It's, if something hurt my feelings, you must have done something wrong. I'll repeat that again because people really believe this. If something has hurt my feelings, it must be wrong. Instead of thinking, maybe my feelings are hurt because there's truth to that statement and I don't like that truth. Or that truth makes me feel uncomfortable. Nope, it's my feelings are hurt, therefore somebody has to be wrong. There has to be somebody wrong because my feelings are hurt. There has to be something misogynist about it because they said something that rubbed me the wrong way. Instead of thinking, maybe your feelings are fragile, maybe you haven't been presented with the truth enough, and therefore when somebody presents you with the truth, it hurts.
I want to ask you a question. You said the bigger women are more desired by men in Egypt. Why again? You said because they're being fed, right?
Somebody feeds
because that
these
means
big
that
women.
they're coming from a household that they're being taken care of.
Who's taking care of them?
Typically a man.
So what man wants a woman that already has a man? I don't wake up in the morning and say, I want a woman that is already married and being fed.
He's basically saying
I think
why
I
are
want
you
a single woman. Yeah.
So you're saying why are we comparing single women that are bigger getting
Well, I'm just,
children?
I
So
think that
no,
makes
I'm
much
just,
sense.
I'm not trying. Yeah, I know what I'm just saying. So you're saying like why are we comparing ourselves to married women if we're we're in a culture right now we're single?
Well, that's like me saying I'm attracted to women that have wedding rings as opposed to ones that don't.
I get what he's trying to say.
Like I said, well, being in that position and being around my friends who get chosen over thicker women really just motivates me to get in the gym. So I feel like it's like
That's good.
That's the crazy thing is weight you can change. Like, you can change that shit.
Nobody's saying that bigger women are just worthless. What they're saying is on a balance of probabilities. If you look at X woman that's fit, and we're going based off of the doctor's definition, we can't say there's no definition. If we go and look at statistics, we can say what falls in what range. There's a full range of weights. So
I was
if
just
you,
wait. Can I just get just a general from the men? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do you guys prefer thinner or fat? So would you rather a girl that's 120 or 300 pounds?
I wonder what they're going to say.
120.
Just curious.
120.
Well, 120 or 300? 120 or 300?
120.
What about you guys? 120 or 300?
120.
Man, speak for yourself.
do you like
Okay.
fit or y'all like fit women, like skinnier women? Because I feel like there's a difference between thick and
No, stop this. People do this all the time. And they need to stop that. Because one of the worst things we've done in the black community to our women is call them thick. We don't have that for men. You don't call me thick. You better not call me thick. Here's the thing. Because we have made this middle range parameter, and we've taken like the term voluptuous or curvy, and we said thick, and now big girls are claiming that they are thick. And it does a disservice because there's girls that are obviously overweight. There's girls that are like 220 pounds calling themselves thick. You're not thick, you overweight. And the thing about it is, me as a person who struggles with eating and dieting and working out myself, who's getting back on track, but me who struggles with that, I understand how hard it can be. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm overweight. I have to acknowledge the truth. I can't, how do I fix it if I don't acknowledge it? I can't go around saying, yeah, I'm overweight, but I'm really just thick. I'm really just big boned. And some girls like big boned. I can try to justify it, but the reality is I need to get in shape, and I'm not optimizing or being a good steward of what God gave me in the best way that I can. And women need to know this even more than men. And I'll say that that's not fair, but it's true. Women need to know this even more than men because men are more visual, women are more mentally stimulated. It's just a fact. You don't have to like it. It's just the truth.
Fat, like thick and overweight. You know, like there's women who just carry more weight, and they're still fit. They still work out. So it's like, are y'all just saying, period, women who are overweight, women that's what y'all don't like? You don't like women who's like just
why is this even
coming back? If that makes
this shouldn't even be a question. And the fact that you have to ask a grown man a question when you're probably in your late 20s, this question shows you don't understand men at all. And I'm not trying to diss the young lady, but the thing is this. To even have to ask, what do you guys really like? You didn't know all this time that men like women that are in shape? You didn't know? This didn't come across your mind? You didn't look... like, if you didn't pick this up, what else have you missed in life? If you didn't pick up that men like in shape women, and you gotta ask them, do you like them a little bit chubby? Do you like them 300 pounds? Do some of y'all like that? If you gotta kind of ask that, like us men, we know. Women like taller dudes. They like the crispy jawline. They like muscles. We know these things. They like confidence. They like money. That if you're driving around with a Ferrari, you have more of a chance to pick up a lady. We know these facts. There's rap songs about it. We all talk about it. There's country songs about it. I want to ride in my truck. They know. We men generally know what women like. But women, on the other hand, they will be like, well, the modern women. Because the older women from, like, I would say my mom and dad's group, they kind of knew. The women kind of had an understanding of what men liked. But now, these women, it's not that they don't. No, they don't care. They like, you better, if I grow 350 pounds, you better like it. We don't care what you feel. It's all about me. If I come to the table 300 pounds with 6 kids, somebody gonna love me. They don't care about that man's raw end of the deal. It's just, he better like it. He don't even have a choice. He has to like it.
Makes sense. Like, she's kind of like you said, y'all are referring to a 300-pound woman, but not every bigger woman's 300 pounds.
I don't like borderline fat though.
She weighs more than me, but I'm a skinny guy, so that's easy to.
Me personally, she's got to be in the gym.
She didn't cross into the country of fat and becoming illegal, but she's right on the border.
So I don't like the twigs per se, and I don't like the larger women.
Yeah.
I don't think.
we're both
Okay, let me speak on this because this is true too. Every extreme is going to get you into a territory where people disagree with you. For instance, most men, I would say, don't like a 80-pound woman either that's shaped like a 8-year-old boy. A malnourished African child. We don't like that either. We like the differences, and it's sad that I even have to say this. We like the differences that make women women. Women have more fat around their hips. They have breasts. They have long hair. So women that are in shape but still have that womanly figure 8 form is attractive to us. That doesn't mean somewhat what women are doing today is they want to cheat. So they will get this exaggerated figure 8 form by getting plastic pumped into their body. That's actually unattractive because the human eye can detect that certain things don't fit. You ever seen a girl that's naturally 100 pounds, but she got a BBL, Brazilian butt lift, and it just looks so unnatural that it's goofy looking? Men don't like that crap. We don't like it because it's not natural. When you gotta cheat like that, we like the female form. Naturally.
We probably like women that are in the gym.
Also, muscle weighs more than fat. So if you say, I don't want a woman who's over 200, she could be bulked
Okay,
out.
well, we're talking about the.
No. What 300 or 250 pound girl is 250 pounds of muscle? And furthermore, what 250 pound girl of full muscle is attractive to the average male? Say it was a girl walking around and she's just 220 pounds. And she's 220 pounds of muscle. That, first of all, that's not likely. Second of all, even if she was, she would look more masculine than she would feminine. So get that crap out of here. You muscle weighs more than fat, and some women are filled with muscle. No, they not. It's harder for women to gain muscle than it is men anyway, for all type of scientific reasons. So ain't no girls walking around here 220 pounds of full muscle.
The flabs and all that.
No, I mean, you brought up the clip, and in the clip I said 300 that you said was fat phobic. And
Yeah.
It's a little. At 300 pounds,
scared.
it's muscle.
Phobia means.
I mean,
scared.
I don't know. You're just throwing out random numbers and seeing what
What is she scared of?
what sticks. And so,
I
beauty
used the
is
number that you
subjective.
gave.
Beauty is
Well, we're in the United
Beauty.
States, so let's stick to this country.
I'm around like 195.
If not,
Let's
just
put
move
that
to a
out
different
there.
country.
All right, but in this country,
So-
there's a lot of migrants that come here as well, so keep that in mind.
Become Americanized.
Okay,
That's
that's
the
also
word.
generalized.
So if we were
generalized.
Yeah.
So I just made that shit up. Americanized. You never heard that.
Yes, of course I've heard that.
Okay, so that's
Of
the thing.
course.
That means they adapt to this culture, Americanized.
Right,
But that doesn't
right.
mean that they always carry, my beauty standards that I grew up with are going to change immediately because I came to this country.
It doesn't, but they become American.
I want to know, actually, why are you moving to Brazil?
Why is it your business?
women there are
You're beautiful.
Oh
Yeah,
my
there's a
God.
lot of
like
curves
seriously
over there.
Brazilian like women. I think beauty's
Well, the thing
subjective,
is,
and everyone's so beautiful in their own way.
Well,
Period.
that's not true.
You
Bullshit.
can weigh 110
No,
pounds,
no,
210 pounds.
No, and this woman, she's saying every talking point that feminists usually say, and they're dead wrong about every one of them. Every woman is beautiful in their own way. No. You know why you can't say that? Because you can't say every man is beautiful in his own way. And if y'all really want equality, let's start there. Let's go and say every man is beautiful in his own way. Every man deserves love. From the 300-pound man to the 80-pound man. Right? To the man in his basement eating chips. That man is also beautiful in his own way. You won't hear that crap because we already know men accept reality. It ain't no... And she'll say that stuff and she don't even... And this is what I learned from watching a lot of people. They don't believe what they say. They just don't want you to challenge it. Let me say that again. They don't even believe what they say. They just don't want you to challenge the delusion that they're comfortable living in. You've seen this a lot with the mask mandate. People know those masks didn't work. They were wearing them, walking around town feeling special about themselves. But they didn't want you to tell them that what they're doing didn't mean anything. Because it made them feel good to believe it, even though they knew they were living a lie. I can't be like that. The reason why I believe the word of God, the reason why I'm a Christian, because I believe it is true. I have had an experience with God that cannot be denied. Somebody can come and tell me, here's the reason why God is not real. But how can you tell me he's not real when I've met him? So here's the thing. And some people will call me crazy for saying that. And that's cool. I mean, whatever. But the reality is some people do not like their delusion and the bubble they created to be popped. And they know it's a bubble, but they rather stay in that bubble.
Beauty is beauty.
What about for
Beauty is
what
beauty.
About for men?
My name's Katie.
What about for men? Katie?
Right.
What about men? What about for men?
She hasn't said anything rude to you.
You asked me that question. I didn't get a chance to answer. I said
If I don't jump in, I think I won't be able to say anything. So I'll work.
She's a victim.
You have the floor.
Thank you. Table. I'm fit.
Mm-hmm.
In Brazil, they have a fit culture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In this culture, 80% of the women are overweight.
Where are the facts on that?
That is a
You
fact.
can Google it.
Well, I am an exercise science major also, y'all. So
Oh, snap.
look,
That's good. I didn't know that. That's a good fact.
a lot, but
Kevin
our
said
whole
it's not
country,
good.
our worst disease is heart disease, and that comes from obesity. So
Mhm.
let's just.
But I want to go back to to the question that I asked him. Why do you want? So you said that you're going to Brazil, but before that, where are you stopping?
Well, they don't interrupt me when I'm talking either.
Ooh.
Thailand.
Ooh.
He's going to Thailand.
So why are you going to Thailand first?
Just to visit.
Okay, and then you're going to move to Brazil. And what was the purpose? Why did you
I
choose?
went to Brazil in February. I ain't been the same since.
Okay.
I loved it.
I mean, why don't you tell them, like, what are the women like there compared to here?
Uh-oh.
Well, they would. I wouldn't have to say, hey, wait your turn. That's the first thing.
Ooh.
Second,
Here's the thing. I am not of the belief that you necessarily have to go overseas to find a good woman. But I will also admit I got married at an early age to a woman that was fit, friendly, feminine, cooperative, and that it's a different age now. What I mean by a different age is until I started watching and consuming a lot of the content, and not just Red Pill, because the Red Pill didn't even exist back then, but I started watching all types of social content before even Kevin Samuels came out, and I started to notice a pattern. And that pattern was the modern woman was extremely overconfident, extremely, what's the word? They've overvalued themselves, extremely combative, had a lack of submission. The modern woman, and I noticed this when I was like in my early 20s. I'm 38 now. In my early 20s, I started to notice, dang, man, this is crazy. I got married in my early 20s too, so I got married right at the right time. And what I started to notice is that for my brothers out there who were not married, it became increasingly hard for them to find women that meet the character criteria for marriage. I have brothers right now who are still trying to find a woman. Now, they got things lined up in their life. They have a place to live. They got good jobs. There are men of character, but they still find it hard to find a woman of good character because in the West, feminism has so directly affected the modern woman that you have to sift through mounds and mounds of trash women to find one good one. Now, if you want to do that, you can. But you can also skip the process and try to go to another country where women are fit, feminine, cooperative. Now, and I will say this too. Men haven't done much better. We've gotten weaker. Our testosterone is lowered. We don't fight for anything. We don't have any principles. In the West, there's a lack of strong men as well. So I feel for the women that are looking for husbands too. But there's a little bit of discrepancy there. But that's a whole nother topic.
What makes you happy, then?
Again, these are very general.
You just interrupted.
General, I'm talking about y'all. Third,
talking about
the
y'all.
hygiene is very good on average compared to the average American woman.
Okay. Do you know that it's mostly comprised of indigenous people in Brazil, correct?
Who cares?
Like,
I don't care about that. I'm just talking about
Yeah,
what
who
I
cares?
experienced.
okay, in your experience in the small city that you probably went to, what was it? Sao Paulo? Or, like, where did you go?
I went to Rio, but I'll be staying
Okay,
in Salvador this time. And Rio's not a small city, just 6 million people.
I
that live
apologize. That was me assuming. I didn't know what city you went to. So you went to Rio, right? So you went to a major city over there. Have you visited the rest of the country?
there. No, I mean,
Okay.
how many?
So there
how
we
many?
go.
How many days are in a year?
So
Why is
what
that
she's
not-
trying to
I
do
want to know
is
how quick you.
disregard everything he's saying by saying that you haven't visited everything, so you wouldn't know. What she should be doing as a modern woman that really was coming and conversating and learning is to say, what do you experience different there that we could learn from here? But no, they got too much pride to do that. They got too much pride. They rather say, the places that you haven't visited over there are probably more like me. So therefore, we shouldn't have to change anything about what we believe.
You think I can do that?
I'm not okay. I'm going back
Listen,
to you
I
making
want you to donate me some money
generalizations.
for me to travel through that whole country.
I want you to donate to me to put up with your
I'm
attitude.
I'm gonna do it. I
Okay.
don't need
Oh,
a donation. I'm just
Your
putting some
attitude,
hard
young
ass.
sir.
If you want me to travel the whole country in 8 months,
Mm-hmm.
that's not cheap.
Of course not. I never said
Start
that it
saving
was.
then.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Better
just- it
start
was a
saving
very
then.
smart remark.
Listen to the girl.
Well, you-
The girl in the middle, right? The other blonde, not Pearly, but the other girl. That type of attitude, men avoid that type of woman because she doesn't give a crap about what you feel. And you think that's going to change in a relationship with a woman like that? When she gets in a certain mood, right? You have to study women. If you get into a relationship with a woman, and even before the relationship, this is the thing too. I'll get to this point that men study women too. You have to study a girl because when you see that type of attitude, this disregarding, this quick, this sarcasm, as a real man, you are not to put up with that. Because if you do, it's your fault. You are responsible. I see a lot of men who are in relationships they should not be in by women who disrespect them. And guess what? I blame the man. I truly do. Because it's a certain line of threshold that you should not put up with. And because you put up with it for so long, it's your fault. You have to demand respect. Not the other way around. Please respect me. Please respect me. Please. You got to say, no, I'm not putting up with that. There's the door. Bye. You have to be able to do that. Because you can't. What else you going to do? I'm not ever going to encourage you to be violent. So you got to stand up for yourself and say, I'm not putting up with that. The other thing for women, especially Christian godly women, when you act with an attitude or you act super sarcastic or you have this dismissive and I don't care what men think attitude, and then you wondering why you don't get pursued, it's because men are watching. Men watch from afar. I watched my wife before I even went up and decided I was going to try to date her. I was watching her. I was watching how she interacted with other men. I was watching how did she talk about her father. I was watching how did she deal with men hitting on her. I was watching what did she do when she wanted attention. I was watching how did she verbalize her disagreements. I watched all of that. And you won't know you're being watched because men are the hunters. So what do men do? We stalk our prey. And when we see a woman with a lack of character, you won't even know that at one point we were hunting you and we decided, nah, we don't want that no more. You won't even know. You'll just be sitting there like, why aren't men approaching me? I don't understand why people aren't coming up to me. I don't understand why people give me one date and then they ghost me. I don't understand why men just talk to me for a little bit and then they leave and talk to my friends instead. You won't understand. All you're going to recognize is that your tension, you are not getting pursued and people don't want to date you. And you won't get why, because men are watching in the distance saying, nope, she don't check off any of these boxes. She don't have any good character. She's not a good conversator. She doesn't have respect for men. So therefore, we're not going to pursue her. And a good man, the more status he is, the more he's like on the top of the mountain looking down to see which one he's going to pick. And he can see you, but you can't see him. And the more you act with that type of attitude, the more men that are behind the scenes saying no to you that you will never find out. And that's the truth. And if I could teach any woman that, is that you should always act feminine. You should always act respectful because men are watching and they are checking off the list of saying no. Now, a bad man with bad character, which we see, will say, I'll still smash you and lead you on. But the good men, the ones you really want, the ones who value relationships, will not even waste time with you. And that's the sad part. You won't even know until you hit 40. You hit 40 and then you wonder, where have all the good men gone? They were hunting you at one point, saw how you acted, and they left you before you even got a chance to say no to them.
You've been making very smart remarks all night.
Hey, speaking of smart remarks, everybody go like the video.
Please. I like your shirt though. Where's your shirt from? To lighten it up a little bit.
From the United States.
I meant the store. Oh, Express? Okay, I like Express. Yeah.
I used to shop at Express back in the day.
No, so I wanted to also talk about something specific tonight. I wanted to talk about the gender pay gap. If we think that it's at a good point right now where it's even and men and women are doing like feminism has done its job and it's right there even, or has it gone too far? Are women killing men, or
there's
men
no
still
such
killing
thing.
women? Like, what's the gender pay gap to everybody here? We're gonna start this time with you. Go ahead with you, and then we'll do the ladies, and then we'll go over.
Okay, for the record, I do know a few statistics. Okay, so if we're going based on, say, a man and a woman both stuck.
I'm almost tempted to skip this part because a gender pay gap has been beaten like a dead horse. And only people who really believe that there's a gender pay gap now are like the staunch, purple-haired, super far left feminist that refuse to believe facts. That's the only group that really believes it. Or somebody who's just completely uneducated and went through a gender studies class where they believe everything their teacher says and they haven't tested or researched anything for themselves. That's the only people that really still believe this stuff.
Start the same career at 20 years old and assuming they have a 40-year career span. Asian women, I feel like, well, to answer your question, I'm not completely 100% sure what it's like at this exact moment, so I just want to let everybody know that, just so you know.
What do you mean, the pay gap?
Yeah, I don't know.
80 cents to the dollar.
She know.
Okay, so Asian women.
She know all that feminist propaganda. It's 80 cents to the dollar. She just got out of her gender studies class. She had one this morning. And she gonna let you know it's 80 cents to the dollar. No, it's not. No, it's not. Women make more than men in the West. With less work. It's 80 cents to the dollar. Okay.
Women, I just know Asian women, they can retire when they're 65. White women around 71. Black women around 85, and then Hispanics, they can retire by the time they're like 95. Wow. So if that gives y'all any inside.
I never heard that before. Yeah, that's crazy.
So,
no, good answer. So, what about you?
He trying to be nice.
Well, I do know when it comes to filling out job applications, for those that are in the minority communities, if you don't have all the requirements, they won't apply. And so that's
what does that have to do with the gender pay gap?
Hispanic, and they just don't get the same opportunities that.
What are you saying?
Like, straight up, and I have a whole nonprofit that works on helping those disadvantaged and marginalized communities.
What? She just word vomited all over the whole discussion. What did that have to do with anything? Did you just want to let people know how good of a person you were, or what? Just hey man, where's 3rd Street? Apples are good for your health. That didn't have anything to do with what I asked. Do you know how to get to 3rd Street? Dinosaurs sometimes eat meat, but some of them were herbivores. What? That didn't have anything to do with it. Come on now. Are you paying attention?
Inner city kids. I was a teacher, so that's where my passion is. That kind of loop.
Obviously.
There is an issue. Women's sports, we're seeing a lot. They're taking a stand, voicing their opinion.
This is a horrible argument.
Sports is dominating, but there's some amazing athletes.
No, there's not. No, they ain't. Because here's the thing. Women's sports are being subsidized by men's sports. I think they actually go into this, so I don't want to take his thunder, but let's listen.
In the WNBA.
Do you watch the WNBA?
Yes.
Nobody watches the WNBA. You a lie. Nobody watches it. Women don't watch it. Men don't watch it. Trans people don't watch it. Dogs don't watch it. Cats don't watch it. Old people don't watch it. Young people don't watch it. Aliens don't watch it. Angels don't watch it. Nobody watches the WNBA. No one. In fact, if you say you watch it, that's the first clue that we know if you, on a lie detector test, you know how they say, check and see if you lying? They said the first question they ask you, do you watch the WNBA? If you answer yes, you are a liar. You're going straight to jail. Even if that lie detector test is not even for anything criminal. The lie detector test could be for a job application. If you say you watch the WNBA, you a liar. You can't be trusted in society. You going straight to jail.
Fully
Who's
aware.
your favorite player?
Oh, not
Bird.
that again.
Sue Bird.
Oh my god.
Sue Bird.
Well, a lot of people just don't watch it.
I thought you were gonna say.
Are you
No one
aware
watches.
of how business operates?
We're just answering questions.
I know, but are you aware of you?
Yeah.
We're not interested in talking about anything with substance. We're just answering questions and talking about what we personally care about that has nothing to do with anything else in the conversation.
Like women's sports. So in a business, if you're in a deficit, do you keep paying people more money based off of a company in a deficit?
Preach that economics to them.
I'll get back. I could do some research and Google it.
No, you don't need research. You don't need research. Let me break this down for you. If you have a hot dog stand and you have a hamburger stand and people only want hamburgers, should we force people to buy hot dogs? Think about that. If you have a hamburger stand and a hot dog stand and everybody's in line for hamburgers, should we force people to buy hot dogs? Okay, let's say we don't like that everybody's buying hot dogs or buying hamburgers because the hot dog guy feels left out. Should we take money from the hamburger guy and give it to the hot dog guy because people like hamburgers more? That's what's happening with the WNBA and the NBA. People are taking from the NBA to subsidize the WNBA because nobody watches women's sports. It's a fact. You don't have to like it. Look it up yourself.
Do you even know what that means?
Yes, I do.
No, you
appreciate
don't.
the condescension.
So if a business,
I don't appreciate the condescension. It's because you don't understand general economics and you can't join this conversation if you don't understand. If you or anybody, you can be a feminist as much as you want, but you cannot take the laws of economics and try to bend them to work in your favor. Because that's not how economics works. Supply and demand is very simple. If you don't understand economics, you shouldn't be in the conversation. How are you going to sit up here and say women should get paid more when they do less work? Or how are you going to say WNBA should get paid more when they bring in less viewers? If with that logic, everybody on Instagram should get paid just as much as the people with the most views and the most likes. The people with the most views and the most likes should subsidize us all and split their check to give us. Even though those influencers like Kim Kardashian, which y'all love so much, ladies, modern day ladies, she should split her money and give it to the rest of us. Right? With that logic, shouldn't she?
Mature conversations are one person at a time.
But there's nothing.
You get mad.
Nothing to research.
Dude is funny to me because he kind of had the same facial expression. Look at his face. He mad now, but you ever seen somebody laugh without smiling? That's kind of the feeling he give me. He got the same facial expression even when he mad versus anything else. It's kind of funny. I ain't gonna lie.
One at a time.
It's a pretty simple question. Like, if you have a business and you made negative $10 million, would you go out and pay somebody $10 million?
Right.
Again, I'm not going to answer subjective, random questions.
Again, I don't like the question because it makes me look stupid, so I'm not going to answer it, and I'm going to word vomit.
You could prove a point
But that's
and
how-
be attacking. We're going to share, and then we'll loop back to you.
You can tell she a teacher. This is a time for sharing. No one interrupt me. I have the speaking ball. Now, when I have the speaking ball, I speak, and I give it to Johnny. He can speak. I determine who speaks.
All right, yeah. Go
That's
ahead.
the
Let me
host
know
right there.
what you think about the pay gap. Do you think it's you just said 80 cents to a dollar?
Yeah, that's according to, because again, I didn't know what the topic of this podcast was going to be last night, so I did very minor research and just on Google. So let me just state that. And according to the minor research that I did on Google, I found that right now it stands at 80 cents to the dollar.
Trust Google.
And it was in 1963 that it was Kennedy who helped pass the bill in Congress to pass the Equal Pay Act, the EPA. And it wasn't until the 90s when they were trying to get the Paycheck Protection Act to pass, or the PFA. I can't remember. Anyway, and it wasn't until the 90s, and it did not pass. So it's been how many years since the 60s? And back then,
blah, 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 blah,
cents
blah.
to the dollar. And mind you, it wasn't, and again, this is very minor research. I'm not an economist. I only know a little bit of the little research that I did, so please don't come at me of that. Women finally came into the workforce very late in life compared to men. And it wasn't until after World War II or during World War II that women finally came into the workforce and started being taken seriously. And when they finally had a taste of independence is when they wanted to be able to get equal chances, equal pay for the same amount of the same kind of work that they were doing when the men were out fighting. And then when the men came back and they were all disabled, they still had to be the main breadwinners for the family unit. So I just think equality, and now again, so then it's been since the 60s, right? So now we're in 2022. And we're still suffering from that pay gap. And as she was mentioning, there is a difference also in pay gap in races as well.
Everything you said was wrong.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Okay. Well, everybody please like the video. We've got a bunch of people over here. Please like it.
They had to transition after that word vomit that didn't mean much of anything. She just went on a whole tirade to say nothing. What did you say that proved that the wage gap existed? What did you say? Like, you went on a whole tirade and they was like, okay, everybody liked the video. You can't. They was like, okay, yeah, you went on a tirade for like 26 and a half minutes. Didn't prove nothing. Okay, that's enough.
Like it. This is the most we've ever had. Thank y'all for showing up. Really quick, I'm gonna ask this question, but then Pearl, I want you to go in on the gender stuff or the pay gap.
Okay.
Question to the
Tappy and
blonde,
Pearl.
Does she hold a WNBA season ticket and buy the players' jerseys?
Right.
Do you want to buy me one?
Do
you wanna go
No. You a strong, independent woman that don't need no man to buy you a woman's WNBA jersey that's probably only worth $2. You could probably get one on eBay for about 25 cents. It probably costs you more to ship one than to buy it. But you could get one with your own hard-earned money.
Deep, you could just get
I'll
one.
go with you. Honestly, like, I really want to go to some football games, really want to go to some b-ball games. Hey,
No,
I'm happy to
it's real
support
cheap.
women.
Women's.
So, hey, if you want to go together, hit me up.
Yeah,
And she said she'll pay.
No, she
I
won't.
got you. I have enough money.
Leo
Ooh.
Lawrence
You're
said-
broke.
Leo
You're
Lawrence-
broke. It's funny. They will often clown a man for being broke. And then in the same breath, they will say that, you know what, let me just keep going because I'm going to get to this point later.
Lawrence said, and who is paying for women's, here, click it again, Joe. And who is paying for women's OnlyFans?
It ain't no depends. One of the reasons why I do this problem is because I see men that are so weak and so soft and lack of morals and lack of morality that they're going around paying for OnlyFans and having virtual girlfriends and stuff like that. That stuff is soft. You can't deny that the whole industry is supported by men, specifically simps and weak men, to be honest. I might do a video on why strip clubs are for simps. But simp culture supports most of these women. Any woman that's an influencer that gets paid, any woman that has an OnlyFans, any woman that has spicy videos, she is getting paid by simp culture. Believe me. Believe it. She is getting paid because simps exist. And they can't get the attention they want, and they don't want to do the hard work to actually get out there and fight and become stronger to attract the female species attention. So they rather simp and pay a girl to pretend to like them.
I'm actually.
We never said we didn't appreciate that. I don't have an OnlyFans, but I'm sure women appreciate you men for paying for that OnlyFans.
No, they don't.
Monthly. Thank you.
No, they don't. I'm going to do another video. All these video ideas I got. A woman that was on Fresh and Fit. One of the early days of Fresh and Fit. And she broke down. She had an OnlyFans. She was a very attractive young lady. Her attitude is trash, though. She, knowing that she's attractive, she got an OnlyFans. And she talks about their disdain for the men that support them. That they don't give a crap about you. They don't find you attractive. They do not want to respond to you. They just want you to give them your money and to shut up. And men, once you understand that should waken you up. These women don't like you. You have to find a woman of good character. The Bible says it this way. When you find a wife, you find a good thing because you're hunting you're hunting for a large portion of your life to find a good mate who is willing to bear your children. That's one of the creeds that we have. And these women out here, if you don't read Proverbs, what it talks about the wicked woman. The wayward woman, the woman that loves attention, that goes out to the town square where everybody can see her, and she is whoring around the town. She cannot stay in one place. All these are things in Proverbs that are definite attributes of women today. They don't give a crap about you. Most of them do not care. Once you give them their money, once you send in a good night text and this and that, they are laughing at you. You have to hunt for a good woman of good character. Don't give your attention. The Bible puts it this way. Do not drink from the well of your own fountain. Should you get joy from a wicked whore of a woman? Is that where you want to rest your head? No, don't give your attention to these girls. Find a good one.
On their behalf.
Here, we're going to go back and let Pearl, I want to hear, because
Pearl about to go
honestly
in.
don't
You
know a lot
already
about
see
the
it in her
gender pay gap
face.
Either. I just learned a lot from them, so I'd love to.
Pearl is a beacon of facts. She be spitting facts. You know, maybe you might not like her delivery sometime, but she be spitting facts.
Hear this side.
Yeah, I think in 2022, any girl that complain, I'm not talking about race because that's the first thing people always bring in. I'm talking about female to male. I think in 2022, if you're complaining about the pay gap as a woman, you're probably just lazy.
Yep.
I have never had a problem getting the same pay as a guy. One issue is that women don't ask for raises. So 60% of women have never asked for a raise and they quit before they ask for a raise. So how can we be afraid, or how can we be mad that we don't get paid as much if we don't ask for more money? Second thing I would say is that, we work less hours. So they do studies where see how many hours a girl works, and we actually...
There's something that differentiates men and women that we don't like to acknowledge because people think it makes women look bad, but it actually makes women look good if you understand why God created women. God created women to be social. God created women to nurture. God created women to create life. It's nothing more magical than seeing a child be born. And women are created for that purpose. And they're created to be a helpmeet to a man, if you read the book of Genesis. And it's such a beautiful thing when everything is in the right place. But oftentimes you will see these things play out because we have forced women into the workplace. Now, even some of them have to work, and some of them don't. They'd rather be at home. So a lot of them would rather be at home with their children and their loved ones. And you can't convince me otherwise because I've seen it. I've seen the stress that women go through trying to compete with men in the workplace, trying to compete with men, and they often will get stressed out. It often changes who they are. And women, because of this, even in the most competitive fields, when you're talking about CEOs of whether it be tech companies or construction companies, you will see these women will often take more time off. Even in my job now, women will take more time off than the men do. Men will compete in overtime. I had a friend who used to be like, man, I got 40 hours of overtime. What you got? And men will compete on that. There were no women in that conversation. Now, every once in a while, there'll be an outlier, right? Of some woman that would try to compete with the men. But I'm telling you, when it comes to the top or the upper echelon of who gets the most overtime, who does the most work to try to see how much money they can get by the end of the year and accumulate, to say, I make this much money. There's men doing that, and women will often take off because they value family and social network. They value that stuff. They would rather go out with their friends and have a glass of wine than spend extra 5 hours working every day just to be making more than the next man. Us men, we are competitors. That's what we do. So it's not wrong that women don't work as much.
Actually get paid more when you account for hours worked and the industries we choose. We'll talk about equal pay when it comes, or equal, they want us to be in like the 1% and all that stuff. But they never talk about the positions like plumbers, bricklaying, any of the hard jobs.
I used to be a bricklayer. Never once have I seen a female bricklayer. I'm sure there's some out there, but let me tell you what the job entails. We would carry concrete in those buckets. Each of these concrete, some of them, the buckets were gallons of concrete. Some of them 100 pounds each. And you walking up a ladder all the way up to a roof because we would work on chimneys. And if you fall, you was done. Because not only you falling, but the concrete falling with you. Tell me a woman that was doing that job. Tell me a woman that could do that correctly. Tell me a woman that even wants to do that. And I'm not just talking about 1 out of a million. I'm talking about that job was a fun job for us. For us men who worked it, we didn't think it was that hard. It was excruciating work when it comes to like physical, but we didn't go home saying, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. This is just too hard. We didn't do that. We was like, man, okay, that was a workout. I don't got to go work out today because I was lifting concrete all day. I was lifting block and brick. For those who don't know, brick is small, but block are the giant ones. Blocks come in various sizes, but they're usually the giant, the bigger ones. Sometimes a foot in length or 2 feet in length. And you have to carry these things to wherever you needed them. And it wasn't a truck that pulled them. Once a truck dropped them down on a pallet, you had to individually carry these blocks where they needed to go. Tell me a woman that was doing that. Show me one that continually does that every day. And then not only show me one, Show me the majority of women that wanted to do that. Show me. And then y'all can have this idea that women are being excluded. They're not being excluded. They don't want to do that.
Women don't want to do, so we get paid less because we don't like to do hard jobs or ask for raises.
I feel like also women are like obviously mothers, so, and I feel like who gets called when something's wrong with the kids, or
this is true, and you got to give women credit. They're the mothers and then the nurturers. So when little Johnny's sick, they feel the burden to be at home with little Johnny. So they may be accountants, they may be working in the office, they may be working in marketing, but when the kids get sick, they feel this overwhelming burden to be with their children. And that's not wrong. Only feminism, in modern day feminism, tells people that that's wrong. And you should not be at home. You should be out there working and competing with men. Nonsense.
Or something needs to be done at the house. The woman usually goes and takes care of that. Mm-hmm. So like you said.
What's wrong with the house?
No, I'm saying like the men, if they do like she said, men put in more hours.
What you said, if something's wrong with the house, who gets called?
No,
he's trying to push back, but I think she's right about this.
Or your man is the provider, so you wouldn't be like, oh, hey babe, can you leave your providing job to go to the house and meet with the guys who are checking the roof? Usually he would send his wife to do that. It's It's just kind of that type of thing.
Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah.
Can I jump on what she said, actually? Because she brings up a really good point. Women actually are not asking for raises because we've been conditioned to.
No, you was right about the first part. Women are not asking for raises, but when you brought in the word conditioned, that's where you messed up, because you want to blame society for what women are. Women are not confrontational as much as men. Women are not driven by financial gain as much as men. Women are not as competitive as men. That's not wrong. It's a difference. And when you say conditioned, as if society somehow sat all the women down and said, you gotta be weaker. Don't you dare grow as much muscles as a man because society deemed it unnecessary. That's not what happened. It's not society pushing you a certain direction. It's the way God made you. And you have a problem with the way God made you. A lot of people have a problem and they don't get to the foundation of that problem. You don't like what God designed. That's why people want to cut off their penises and pretend like they're a different sex. They don't want to acknowledge that God made you a certain way and you are not the God of your own life. That's the bottom line. People don't like what God has made, and they have a problem.
She rocked the boat. We've always been told, you know what, stay quiet, don't really make any noise. Maybe eventually you'll get a promotion if you're well behaved, you keep your mouth shut, and always do what you're told.
No.
Yeah,
that's why.
It sounds like an excuse to me.
Exactly.
I've always been able to go ask for a raise if I wanted a raise, so I have no sympathy.
And that's great.
I have no sympathy.
And that's great.
And I'm not going to blame society if you're too scared to ask for a raise. Grow a pair, ask for a raise.
And I agree with you 100%. I think that should be the attitude for women. We should all be taught to think like a man.
No. Men don't have to be taught. This is who we naturally are. We're naturally competitive. You put two boys on a playground, you put two girls on a playground. The girls will socialize and they'll try to relate to each other. The boys will compete and fight with each other. And they'll fight in a fun way, like not trying to actually hurt each other. They just roughhouse. That's who we are. That's not socially taught. It's just what it is. I have children. I see it. You cannot deny it once you see it. The boys roughhouse. I didn't teach them, hey, wait a second. There's going to be class tomorrow. And in that class, I'm going to sit down the boys and separate the girls. And I'm going to teach you. You better fight with your brother and roughhouse and throw each other on the couch or you're not getting any food today. And you play with that Barbie doll and you nurture it. And you pretend to have house. I don't have to say that. They just naturally fall into that role. Because that's the way God made them. Stop denying what God has made.
Thinking like, okay, because that men have always been told, you know what, you deserve that. You
No.
should ask for that.
That's what
society,
they are.
It's gender differences. We're more agreeable.
Right.
So
Correct.
but that's not society. That's innate.
Innate.
Because what they do is they take women from countries that are more free and less free, and the pay gap increases with the more freedom we have.
Are we talking about corporate jobs? I just want to clarify real quick because most of the
Doesn't
jobs
matter,
where I was
really.
self-employed, I did like hospitality, like serving jobs, and obviously as a woman in a serving job, I make way more money than the boy servers or
Yeah, and
men
that's the other
servers.
thing,
So
they
I
don't-
can't really like debate at the same time because I'm like, now I make my own prices, but before I was making more money than the men in my job because I worked hospitality and stuff like that. So
Yeah, in certain industries, women definitely dominate.
Yeah,
even, like, barber
they do
versus hair
because a
salon.
lot of times they'll get
Like,
tipped based on
women-
if
hairdressers
men think
make
they're
more money.
cute or not.
I think a good way to kind of encourage women to ask for raises is like for society when a woman's asking for a raise.
Oh, no. Why did she have to open her mouth again and make me like her even less? Go ahead, young lady. Spit that trash.
you're worth.
When a woman's asking for a raise, don't be like, oh, she's being aggressive. Because
No. A woman, okay. Here's your problem. Men don't care what you think of them. We don't care. If I say I deserve this much money, I could give a crap what you think about it. Either you give me the money, or I'm going to find a better job that will pay me that money. That's how men think. Women, I don't want people to view me in a certain way. I don't want to come off as aggressive. I know I work hard, but my boss is going to be mad. Listen, if you want to play with the men, then play like the men play. If you want that raise, go get the raise. Stop caring what everybody thinks. But here's the problem. You must care because women are more social. They do care what people think. Men care a little bit less. We're less agreeable. That is how God made us. So you trying to make the world fit you is just not going to work.
men are praised for doing that. Oh, good for you, man. For asking
No,
for
we're
that
not.
raise,
No,
for doing-
oftentimes when I'm at my job, whatever job I've had, when I'm disagreeable, people hate me for it. Oh, he think he know everything. Oh, who you think you are to tell me? I just don't care. Either you do it the way I said. If I'm the boss, either you do it the way I told you to do it, or you could find another job. How about that? That's how I think. Now, do I care to a certain extent? Everybody cares to a certain extent, especially if you really like the person that you got to chew out. But there comes a time where the reason why men are in the leadership position is because we don't care about that feeling stuff, and it makes us better leaders.
Doing that, then let's praise women for the same thing as well.
We get praised all the time. Again,
All the
We're
time.
making generalizations.
If you ask for
Hashtag
a raise,
boss.
if you get asked for a raise, like honestly, nobody's gonna call you aggressive. Like that's just
Well, you don't
bullshit
know that.
excuses. No.
Excuse.
You don't know that.
I do
Where's
want
the
to
facts?
say my mom's coworker, she asked for a raise about a few times, like more than a few, and she actually got honored her raise like about, I think like 3-4 times.
Mm-hmm.
But she's still asking for a raise over and over. Like, so they did call her aggressive.
Okay,
But
so what? You got the
Also,
money,
she
though.
did get a raise 3 times,
But
and she
then-
doesn't deserve a raise. But she was called aggressive for
They may call the men aggressive too, but the men say, "Okay, screw you, I'll go get another job."
Exactly.
What?
We don't hear from the men when they get called aggressive.
Right, because we
They
don't
go find
cry
another job.
about
Yeah, like they're not gonna sit there whining. They just say, "Okay, screw this, I'll go to another company and get my pay."
it. Yeah, right,
I want to
right,
give my
right.
experience on. I actually made more than a man
Whew.
in a sales job that I was.
Yes, Queen. Yes. You are our leader. Brave, beautiful, wonderful.
I was making 17 an hour compared to my guy counterpart. He was making 15, and the only reason why I was making $2 extra an hour was
You go,
because
Queen.
I spoke Spanish. So I had to do on the phone. I had to speak both English and Spanish on this job. Well, I was told very clearly to never say how much I was getting paid at this job. I was told to keep my mouth shut, don't say anything, and they specifically told me the starting rate for this job is 15 an hour. So I would appreciate and I would hope that you honor code, that you don't talk about it. Okay. Months went by, I didn't say a word, and it wasn't until I slipped up I was taking a break.
Slipped.
And this guy had been there maybe a year longer than me, and he was still only making 15. And I said, oh, yeah, no, it's 17 an hour. That's really good compared to, what, and it just slipped out, right?
I'm sure.
Human error. And I kid you not, about 2 months later, I got fired.
It's a conflict of interest as well, because it's just kind of like, yeah, you're bilingual, but then...
Sounds about right. I would have fired you too, because if they had in a contract, I don't even know if you can put that in a contract, but I'm sure there's some way they could weasel it in that your pay is confidential, and you just magically slipped it out. Then you broke the contract.
And it starts, he's going to the boss's office like, why is she doing A, B, and C?
And he did. And he did, and he actually made a scene about it that I actually walked away because I felt so uncomfortable. He made me cry in front of the whole sales floor.
Oh no, he made you cry. I thought you were strong. I thought you should be able to handle everything a man should handle, but he approached you in public, and he made you cry.
And he was saying, like, how dare you have, because you're already showing off with your Spanish skills. So why is it that you have to actually make more than me because I wasn't gifted, I wasn't blessed to speak two languages. Why is it that I have to make less than you? And I was like, because I'm actually doing double the work.
So you do understand the WNBA thing.
For A, my value, B, my experience. And I cried. I cried in front of everyone because he did that so publicly, and
as a man, if you at work and you cry in front of everybody like that, you deserve to get fired. You deserve it because that type of weakness can't be trusted.
Again, I tell you, 2 months later, they found a way for me to be let go. And that, to me, I've always carried that because I was actually very proud that I was like, wow, I'm actually making more than my male counterparts. This is really
Why
exciting.
should you be, only women compete like that? For instance, men don't compete with women like that because we don't get anything from it. We don't be like, I'm earning more than my woman counterpart, so that makes me so proud. Who cares about the actual job I'm doing or anything like that, but I'm earning more than those women. We don't think like that. We compete with each other because we don't look at women as the competition. But she obviously looks at men as the competition. And it's going to hurt your life if you live through life like that because that's not your role.
Like, hey guys, maybe the pay gap isn't real. That's what I was thinking. And then that happened to me and I was like, wow, what a coincidence.
But I think that's more like you disobeyed what they said. And I know it's an accident, but like they told you not to. Like it's just like they told you that there would be a consequence.
Accountability.
They said not to. And then
what is this?
I accept that 100% that was definitely my fault. However, I think that there should be so that we have equality of the workplace. Why can't we have open transparency of payments if we're all doing the same?
Because of the problem that it just caused.
I'd rather not do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Like I said, I feel like that's a conflict of interest. And then, like, what happened, they were trying to avoid that scene. Like, everybody knew obviously you deserved the $2. You had your credit from your bosses. Like, you didn't need credit from your coworker. Well, that's probably, I feel like that's how, as, like, that's how they...
But I think the problem is people start to get entitled because they feel like exactly what happened in that situation. So if I'm hiring 5 people and I know this guy's the most productive, right? And I know he deserves more money or she, whoever it is. And let's say I pay them $75,000 a year and I pay someone else $50,000. When they find out about the gap, the other person might feel like they're
gonna feel slighted,
and they might feel like they do just as much work. But I'm the boss. Like I'm the boss. I see who actually does the most work, and that's why you can't have pay transparency because you have people that feel like they're worth more than they are.
And I think on that note, though, wouldn't it be nice for everyone to know going into the job, okay, this person right here actually is making a little more because they have an extra skill that I don't have.
You can let people know that.
Why don't I go out and learn that extra skill so that I can be price matched with what that other person is?
That sounds nice.
It sounds,
when I was on the other side, I might have agreed, but like people just start to get entitled. And even if they're a whole hell of a lot less productive, like it's night and day.
Yep.
It's like
there is no one who's working that there are very few people that actually will acknowledge that they're lazy and they're not worth the amount of money they get paid. Very few people. Most people think, I'm a hard worker, even if they the laziest dude in the whole company. So that's why a lot of this happens.
People just have this ego. You can't.
I agree.
Even with that guy, like, everyone else probably could have said she deserves more money. She's better. But even when they have that, like, that's not even just a guy thing. Like, that's just a human thing.
I think also it was the shock. I think and this is just me putting myself in his shoes for right now. I think it was more the shock of him learning that I was making, and he was there longer than me.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying I think it would be more fair for everyone on the floor and everyone in the job to know how much each person is making.
So if that happened, you probably wouldn't have got the 17 to start.
No.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean, because, like, I'm thinking of it from the employer's point of view. Like, if I have this one guy, and maybe he's like a mid employee, right? So like he's making 15 an hour, and I bring in this new girl, and I'm like, oh, she's so much more productive. She's gonna make my life so much easier. She deserves the 17.
But it's gonna cause a problem.
He's still gonna feel some type of way because he's been there longer.
Sure.
Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that men and women's pay should be equal?
I absolutely do.
So why did you say you were happy when you were making more than your male counterpart?
Uh-oh. Why? Why would you say so? Why would you say something like that? Why?
Okay.
Is it because you actually believe people should get paid on the value that they produce? Because if so, if men produce more, then they should get paid more, right? It shouldn't be just based on equality across the board. It should be on what you actually produce, right?
From the comments.
I did, and that was a good point, and I'm asking you now.
I agree, okay? And here's the thing. I agree that everyone should be making the same amount. However, like I mentioned, I was actually doing double the work. I was actually having to speak in the Spanish language.
So then you don't agree everybody should make the same amount.
In my particular sales.
People do this in an argument, and it kind of annoys me. They'll say, yeah, I agree, and then they'll go on to disagree. You don't agree. You don't believe people should make the same amount because you believe you are doing more work and you should be compensated for your work. That's not wrong. But then don't try to go and say stuff like everything should be equal. Because you can't have those two arguments contradict each other. If all women should get paid the same as men, then what we need to examine is the work that they produce. Not just equal across the board.
In the Spanish division, I had to actually explain what it was that I was selling. So not only was I selling, I was also having to describe what it was that I was selling.
Understandable.
In the English department, everyone knows what a home security system is in the United States.
Understandable.
But
you had to do more work because you was the only one that talking to
is
Spanish
literally
people.
The dogs of the house. And so to have to explain it, so like literally I had to spend an hour on each phone call. So it was really exhausting work. Just to like talk about that. So to answer your questions, I believe that everyone should be making the same amount. And here's another example. They ended up hiring another dude, and he was also making 17 an hour. So we were both doing the same job. He was making 17, I was making 17, and he was speaking Spanish.
Well, no, here, I'm gonna get to you in just a second, bro, so we can keep doing the same thing. But let me read some questions, and everybody get the likes up. Let's get 100% engagement, please.
Let's stop there for today. I'm going to continue this because they get into some more spicy content later on, and it really sheds a light on what is the problem with a lot of modern women. And this is the perfect example. Thank you guys for joining me. It's Jack Bravo. I'm going to try to do more of these and break these down, use them for teaching lessons to educate these young men on what they should avoid and what type of man they should be. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys later, all right?